And now for something completely different.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Strap yourself in.
Because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Right, Chris.
1, 2, 3, 4. They say count to 10 and it helps. Well, I'm actually up to 1,004. Pissed off, totally, utterly pissed off. And Manchester City have just got a fourth against Bournemouth, which means my 3-0 is out the fucking window. You better get another one now, Man City. Make it 5 so Brad doesn't get the 3 points. Look, I'm going to bring Brad in a second, but I've got to say, what the fuck was that? What a load of bloody shite. It was... I have taken my Leicester top off because I'm embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed by that performance. I mean, apparently there were some good things happening in the game. I don't know what they were. Brad's going to try and explain to me. But whether he was watching a match from a couple of weeks ago, I do not know. All right, look, let's put it into perspective. We were playing cheaters, let's be honest with you, because they spent most of the match on their arse, claiming that, they'd taken a kick on the ankle, but they were holding their head. So Arsenal are cheaters, and I personally want Manchester City to go and win the title now. But what was that from Leicester? What was that from Leicester? I mean, I've got to say here, straight away, did Arsenal deserve to win? Yes, they did. I can't lie. They deserved it. Were Leicester shite? Yes. 1,000% yes. Do Arsenal players go down like a wife on Christmas Day? Yes. Yes, they do. Do I want Arsenal to win the title? 100% now. 100%. And they've got Grealish who goes down easy. I mean, we knew it was going to be a difficult month, but the bell end is back. In fact, he's not even a bell end now, he's a knob end. How can anybody make substitutions when you're 1-0 down at home and we're losing? And he thinks, I know what I'm going to do. First of all, I'm not going to pick the player that I was shining a light on last week and saying how good he was. Rings a bit like familiar, eh? Hashtag Chowdhury. So he does that. He drops Mendy. He's got Ndidi, who totally is off form. I'm sorry. I don't know what he was doing. He put Samari on before him. He was a waste of space. Then, when he does make the substitutions, so he takes off Ndidi and puts on Samari. He takes off Castagna. He puts on Ricardo. Okay, as Brad said, he did go to up front about 10 minutes to go. I mean, he's taken our informed striker off, who wasn't getting a look in, I grant you. But I'm going to take him off, and I'm going to bring Jamie Vardy on, because Jamie Vardy has scored so many goals this season that, you know, he's bound to get us out this shit. Jamie Vardy, get down to the post office on Thursday and claim your pension. You're fucking shite now. And then what does he do? I will try to up front. I've taken Kelechi and Nacho off. Tell you what I do. I bring Daka on. He can't score in a fucking brothel either. Tielemans, when he came on, all he did was shout at the referee and blame, oh, man, it's hurting. Oh, that was a foul. Grow up, Tielemans, and fuck off to another club. Do you know the BBC? The BBC actually say, they have a heading on their website, everything you need to know about your team. Well, let me tell you, everything you need to know about your team there in one line. We are bloody shite. That's what we need to know about our team. We don't need to know anything more. We are bloody shite. And that on my website there, one shot we had all game. Not one on target. We're at home, for fuck's sake. It's not good enough for any Premier League team. All right, we're not the team that was finishing 5th. Fucking hell, West Ham were in the bottom 3 and they got 4 past Nottingham Forest to beat us 2-0. Yeah, we're playing the top of the league. Yeah, Arsenal are going for the Premier League Championship. Of course they are. Yeah, would I have before the game of it, I said I would have taken a draw. We couldn't have got a draw if we'd been playing till bloody Christmas Day. We were that bad. Yeah, we know how good we can be. And that's saying like, well, were we that bad or did Arsenal just make us look bad? No, we were that bad because Arsenal did not get out of third gear. Because they didn't have to. They could have put Arsenal women out there and they would have beaten us today. I can say I've taken off my Leicester City shirt because I am embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed to say I'm a Leicester fan after that performance. We've learned nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm through that fence again. I am through the fence. I'm glad I put a gate in because I thought Brendan Rodgers might have been turning things around. Fucking hell, what a knobhead he is. We are 3 points off the relegation zone. 3 points off the relegation zone. Look at it there. Look, that's where we are. Yeah, we got goal difference on our side. But we're -6, same as West Ham. We are in a relegation battle. All right, I mean, you're looking at Bournemouth now, I think Bournemouth are down, probably Southampton are down. Wolves, they've had their little kick. Maybe they're struggling now. Leeds, I mean, we'll probably survive because other teams just happen to be worse than us. West Ham will overtake us soon, I'm sure. Does Brendan Rodgers need to go? I can't decide. I don't know. 1 minute I'm in, 1 minute I'm out. I want to start shaking it about in a minute. Does he go? Doesn't he go? Let me know what you think, guys. I'm just absolutely pissed off. One shot, and not one on target, and you are at home. Oh, Brad. Hello.
I need to ask you a question because I just couldn't pick up on it. I'm not 100% sure here, so I don't want to make any assumptions first. But are you a little bit annoyed by that?
No, I'm over it.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were. Some people might accuse you of being a little bit over dramatic, but it was poor. It was toothless. It was toothless and poor in 2/3. And it was the crucial 2/3 if Leicester are going to ever get anything out of the game of football. I mean, I know every part of the play is what you need ultimately to get a result, but I think I think to be embarrassed is a little bit over the top, just purely for the fact of, yes, Arsenal did control it, and I'm not saying that, but we did do well at least in 1/3 minus the goal, and with that, at the end of the day, I'm trying to clutch at straws here, I think.
Exactly.
But the defence was relatively solid. No, you have to admit the defence was relatively solid until that first 38 seconds of the second half, where they just switched off. But
I don't think
it's not like we've lost 6-0, and it's not like Arsenal would have deserved beating us 4 or 5-0. They didn't exactly have that many clear cut themselves. So there was an array of shite and a pile of shite, as you so beautifully put it, and you're correct to say, because in fact saying the top half was shite was being polite. But you have to say, and I know we'll talk about the first half because we like to break it down half by half, but at half time, whilst I was very disappointed we'd offered nothing, I don't think there was a Leicester fan that was coming in not thinking, well, frustrate them, get the goal, get our noses in front. It could be worth what he's done there. It's just, it was embarrassing in the attacking and midfield, not 100%. I just think saying it was an embarrassing performance is a bit of a disservice to some of them out there that actually put in the effort with what they were required to do.
You win as a team, you lose as a team.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I mean, I will say my man of the match was a defender, and we'll come on to that later. So, I'm not a million miles away from you are.
No.
I could hate you by the end if Man City don't score another goal, of course. But let's be honest, we were lucky not to be 1-0 down at half time. There was nothing wrong with their goal that I saw. I don't think he was being held on to. I don't think he was being knocked off the ball. There was a Leicester player that was closer to him, I thought. I think the referee went over to have a look at that. And I felt a little bit sorry for Craig Pawson today. And I'm going to be honest with you, because I think he was told to go and have a look at it. And I think at the back of his mind was, shite. Remember what happened last week? What's going to happen? If I don't get this spot on, I'm going to be roasted. And I just think that's why we got away with it, because to me it was a fair goal and it should have been 1-0 Arsenal.
Do you know what? I thought about putting something out about it on a tweet, but I don't think I could be asked with any of the controversy that might come with it. But when I saw that incident, and you know me, I'm a member of the Goalkeepers Union. You know what I'm like.
Yeah.
And even I sat there and watched it and went, okay, we have the answer. We have the answer to the lifetime question that two wrongs can make a right, apparently. And it's justified in VAR, because I felt really sorry for him. It was a good finish. It didn't warrant getting chalked off. He just falls over sort of mid-air. He sort of trips himself up and doesn't get the air that he was expecting to punch. I don't really... No, I'm sorry. Only in VAR could two wrongs apparently balance things out, and that just shows you the problem with the sport at the moment, because that wasn't a foul for me.
I just want to bring a couple of comments in because I've fallen behind with those, and I do apologise. David S., only positives for me today. We only lost by 1 goal, and Christensen played well. Outside of that, we just made up the numbers. I don't even think we did that, David. Jack. Ki lost the ball every single time it was played to him. It was like
Kelechi Iheanacho.
Kelechi, of course.
That took my brain a second as well.
Yeah. I think of him as Nacho, so I'm looking for an end for him. It was like a hot potato. What does he do in training at Seagrave? A lot more than Vardy and Daka, apparently. David goes on, I love KDH, but today he showed he isn't as good as we want him to be. He seems to play his football with weights on his ankles, slow to turn, slow to release the ball, tenacious, yes, but that's about it. Barnes went backwards and I'm surprised. Not a damn. Am I surprised? Not a damn. He's not quality in the class of Saka or Martinelli. Okay, I mean, that's a fair point, but that's why they're top of the league, mate. That's why they're in the England squad. Rigo, nope. That was a clear hold on Ward's hand. Really? I respectively disagree. No, you're allowed to disagree with me, but I do have a member of the Goalkeepers Union sat to that side of me. White grabbed Ward's arm. Clear view on VAR.
Right. Well, I didn't get to see as many replays as others did. I just didn't see any contact with him.
That.
Well, I didn't see that part of it. So from what I was able to see of it, from what I could make out of it, I didn't see anything wrong with it. But if someone was saying that he had a clear hold of his arm, then all right, fair enough, right decision. I changed my mind.
Jack, let me ask you this. If that had gone the other way, would you have demanded the goal and said that VAR were wrong? And I don't think either of you are going to sit there as Leicester fans and say, yeah, if that had been a Leicester goal, I would have said, yeah, I would have agreed it wasn't a goal. It was one of those. And
it always is with goalkeepers. We know what it's like.
Yeah. But like I say, for me, it wasn't. That's only my opinion. But like I say, I do honestly think that at the back of Craig Pawson's mind was, last week's debacle.
It's an easy one to give, isn't it? Because of the stereotype that's perceived to be around with goalkeepers.
He's probably there, actually, Craig Pawson, thinking, thank God I can go and not give that. You know what I mean? It's almost probably like a relief for him. I mean, they were still talking about the Sabitzer foul on Sky at half, before the games on the Saturday. So, anyway, that Southgate was there, by the way. I don't know.
Oh yeah, of course he was. Of course he gets the tickets when Maddison isn't playing.
Yeah. Let's have a look at this team, Brad. He says, I've got it here somewhere. Here we go. Let's have a look at that team. I mean, I'm fed up with... Brendan Rodgers, you do not blow smoke up somebody's arse one week and then drop them the next. Because that's why you get no loyalty. That's why if I was Mendy, I think, fuck off if you want me to sign a new contract now. Swivel on it. Because he did it to Chowdhury after that, what was a man of the match performance, out of position in defence against Liverpool. We never saw him again. And now he's doing exactly the same with Mendy. There was nobody, because indeed he wasn't doing it, nobody was holding that ball and holding on to it.
See, I'm gonna come up with a little bit of a defence here because
no, you do it. No. That's why that's part of the show.
Yeah, I understand that if we see a player and we know from past experiences it's normally a bad omen when this sort of thing happens. But when you look at the lineup there, my only disheartening thing was probably met with a lot of other Leicester fans. I know there was talk in the chat on your watch along before the game started about Ndidi, but I wasn't so disheartened about the fact that Ndidi was playing. And this, I was more disheartened the fact that we had two options today, and you're seeing two effects in the results that are going on right now, which is Leicester lost 1-0 but didn't offer anything going forward because they had two central defensive midfielders and were hoping and praying to get something counter their way in. We were just awful, so it never happened. Or you're currently 4-0 down to Man City. That's one thing you can look at in the approaches, because we didn't go positive. And if we'd gone positive, Dewsbury Hall doesn't play in that CDM role, and I think Mendy would have started today. He chose to go defensive because he played the other option. He has spoken about what Mendy offers and why he wants to use Mendy at the moment in time, because he wanted to be positive. Today, he probably thought, if they come out and get a goal and do to us what Manchester United did, we might get a bit unstuck here today. I want to shore it up for as long as I can. The only puzzling part of that is why didn't he then come on when he made the changes? But we'll get to that later on. But I wasn't overly concerned the fact that Mendy wasn't started, because it just showed. And like I said in the watch long, I came in and said that just tells you how we're going to approach today's game.
You did.
And it painfully played out that way, I'm afraid to say.
Yeah, you got it spot on. David says there, all he can think of is that Needy was in for the height advantage. Well, he never headed the ball that I saw of. He's not exactly known as a header. We are at home we are playing the team that are challenging to win the title. We don't go defensive. The best form of defense is attack. Indeed, he is not the player. Indeed, he was.
No, and I know that, but that again shows you why what the tactic was all about. And again, it is always nice to have that bit of impetus when you're at home against a good side. You know, we were happy when we lost 1-0 to Man City in the sense that at least we saw a bit of aggression and effort from us to try and nick it.
We were actually, when we lost 1-0 to Man City, we were fucking awful. But now we've had some good results. We see what we can do.
Yeah, I know it was done.
We don't mind losing it. Well, we do mind losing, but if we lose and go down fighting, that lot today couldn't fight the way out of a condom.
Going forward, they couldn't. But again, I will reiterate, minus the nutmeg that led to the goal, you know, the defence was quite resolute. I mean, it's just everything that seemed to follow on from half time was just completely baffling. Because you could have even forgave not having the ball in that first half. I mean, I think we came off at half time 80% or 80% possession against us, and 12-15% in our favour. You could have forgave it had the changes been made that made the logical sense, which didn't. And again, we'll get on to them. But if that had changed how we went about it, because you do have to be calculated. You can't just go out at Man City and Arsenal when they're in this sort of form and playing how they are, because you do get a Bournemouth result. You do get a Bournemouth hammering. And the thing is, this probably feels worse than a Man United performance because, again, up until them goals in that Man United game, at least we felt we were in with it because we were showing the attacking intent. That's the real big disappointment and the thing we should be the most angry about, because we didn't give that. Because if that's at the Emirates and we've played like that, we'd probably give it a different reflection, because you go, oh, well, it was Arsenal. They were at home. They were always going to dominate. We hung in there. It was one good chance, and they've taken it. You know what I mean? It's all about perspective. It's just even more added disappointment because at least at home, you feel like they'd feel confident with the crowd there going, we can lose this game, but if we have a go, they'll appreciate it. And that's the thing that really has ticked Leicester fans off today.
We have won one of the last 6 games against Arsenal. We've lost 5 on the trot. To me, if a manager is losing that many games against the same team, he is absolutely shite, because he should be learning
Not
things.
Really.
Yeah,
Not really. Every team has a bogey team. But every team, Martin never beat Arsenal. I don't think Martin O'Neill ever beat Arsenal in his reign now, apart from the FA Cup and the penalty shootout. So was Martin O'Neill shite because he couldn't get one over on Arsenal? Not at all. It's just we have these teams. We have
I'd have to check the stats in fairness, but yeah, different times.
You know, and we got thumped like 5-0 by Arsenal when Martin was in charge, and he was no mug to be taken as a manager at Leicester.
I'll say one sentence to you. 3-3 at Filbert Street. There was more fight in that game from the Leicester players than I've seen all season from ours.
Yeah, but we've also got to kind of maybe accept that as much as we were confident after the Spurs and Villa game, our season's been below par, to be nice. And that's the nicest way I can put it. We've been very below par since the first ball was kicked. Since that first 45 minutes against Brentford, we have been, the majority of the time of the season, very poor and difficult to watch. If you're going to lose, I think, unfortunately, we're not going to see that Leicester that was rife with confidence. We're going to have to, like you said, and I agree with you in a way, and it's not a nice way to have to look at it, but we may have to accept that 6 teams are going to be worse than us this season, and we just stay up by 7 or 8 points and go again next season. And because big changes will happen in the summer, they will, with talks of players going, contracts and whatnot. There's going to be big movement, you'd think, in the summer. So
who would want?
Unfortunately, it might be one of the ugly seasons that you go at the end of it and go, well, at least we're still a Premier League side and we go again, sort of thing.
Yeah, I do. I mean, like I say, had we not won I only expected 5 points from this month, right? Because we've got we've got, apart from the Cup with game, and I don't think we'll beat Rovers if we perform like that.
Well, if we play like that, we won't.
Yeah. We've got Chelsea, and I can't see us.
Hey, we can win a game, Chelsea. Thank God. I knew you'd shed some light on the situation. It's Chelsea. I'm joking.
We're not going to beat them.
No, but I'm trying to take some pride in something.
We couldn't beat Rushden and Diamonds, to be honest with you, mate. If we get relegated, and Dan's made a comment, and I'll bring it up in a second. But if we get relegated, we won't do a Burnley next season because we ain't that fucking good. Burnley would stuff us if we played them at the moment. Right, what I want to do is I want to play you a couple of things. I did invite the guy on, but he hasn't actually come on. He hasn't actually replied, so I'm guessing not. This is Jason. You may remember we've had him on in the show in the past. He went to the game today, and it's not the guy that does our man of the match. And tell me if you can't hear this, but these are just a couple of voicemails that he sent me or on messenger messages about today's performance.
I can't hear nothing. Are you playing anything, mate? Because I can't hear anything.
Did you not hear that?
No, I didn't hear anything, mate. I was saying that all along. I couldn't hear anything.
Did anybody else hear that? No audio. Okay, so that didn't work then. Right, let's try it another way, shall we? Best plans, as they say. Let's try it another way. Right, let me just get this up here. I thought it would pick up the sound. The microphone's above it. Right, let's have a look. Here. Please hold on. Your call is... We do appreciate your call. Right, let's have another go.
Game that has been such a wasting of time and players going down. I tell you what, mate, if you've seen that wherever you are, it was, mate, we didn't have no bloody go today, did we? Yeah, it's been some time since I spoke to you, but yeah, I kid you not, I don't know what you think about that game. It was so poor.
Did you hear that one?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, and that was his first one. This was his second one.
That's no problem. I mean, we was really lucky to have that goal disallowed. Obviously, with Ben White on Danny Ward, because Ward was like flapping his wings. Realistically, the goal should have stood, but we were really lucky. I just thought we was really flat, mate. We was like a pedestrian. We weren't moving. We were stuck, mate. We were definitely missing Madison reality shot, mate. All of this, it wasn't the best of games. And obviously with Rodgers' post match, he said a few things on the BBC Radio Leicester. Not worried as much, but yeah, it's not looking good, Chris.
I haven't heard what he said post-match, but I presume he was blaming somebody other than himself.
I'll probably say that he's got beautiful human beings that are great technicians.
He was at the match, Jason. Kel was definitely offside for our goal. There's no two ways about that. I'm going to say that. He was offside. He didn't even need VAR to compare that. He was agreeing with us. Dan's just saying here, obviously not seen any of the game. Well done to you, Dan. 4-0 against Huddersfield. I think you're up and they're down. But I'm guessing a narrow loss to league leaders mean you put in a spirited performance. Oh, no, we didn't, Daniel. Oh, no, we fucking didn't. 16 points in 14 games. Yes or no, Chris? No. I can't see where they're coming from. I cannot see where they are coming from. And David, if we were to look at this game as a neutral, would you say that indeed he was the reason we lost, or was the reason we didn't have much aggression going forward, or both? I don't blame him as much. Look, it's not his fault he was picked, and he comes on to play to the best of his ability. You know, doesn't come on to play badly, but it's just the whole team was shite, and it should have been Mendy from the start. As a Leicester fan, I'd have preferred to have played like we did versus Spurs and maybe still have lost 1-0. That is it. Exactly. We just did not.
But the thing is, like I said, you play like that against Spurs and you beat them 4-1 and it's all sunshine and roses. You play like that and Arsenal go and beat us 4-0, then that was reckless, that was careless, he should have shored it up. Why didn't he have this on? Why didn't he go with Mendy? It's all if ands and buts and what's and coconuts when it's a defeat for your team, isn't it? It's all this and that, and all you can do then is look at it as a perspective, because it's all well and good saying, oh, well, we could have played on the front foot and only lost 1-0. We could have played on the front foot and Arsenal could have tore us a new one. It's just the live by the sword, die by the sword of how you approach a game. And Arsenal have been very good at how they approach a game this season. That's why they are where they are. And I think we kind of maybe have to look at that a little bit and revalue our season, because what's the one thing we always say, Chris, when it is going well for Leicester? Appreciate the moments, because they don't last. This is another block. And
I know what you're saying, but earlier in the season, Arsenal beat us 4-2.
Yeah, so 1-0 loss is only progress, isn't it?
Well, how many points did we get in that game?
The exact same. Same.
So if we're going to lose 1-0, defending...
But then goal difference, you talk about it being a point. I'd rather lose 1-0 than 5-0. You know, what was it? People said it about the Leeds manager, Bielsa. I want to play really good, sexy football leagues. Yes, 6-1's real sexy, real appealing. I'm really loving watching my team play like that if they're losing that. No, I think we've got to kind of maybe just be really disappointed that we had nothing in that middle and attack, and just accept that we were just not confident in ourselves and not at the office today in any form of aggression, and it was just a sad performance and we get over it.
We are at -6 on our goal difference. Forest are -24, Palace -10, and then below us Wolves -15, West Ham, and I think West Ham are in a false position, they're on -6 as well, Leeds on -10, Everton on -15, Bournemouth on -23. If Rodgers' game plan is saying like, oh, we'll stay up on goal difference, that is a very good game to be playing.
Yeah, of course it is. But I mean, I'm just thinking worst case scenario. If it comes to it, I'd rather get into May knowing that none of our results matter, because we're 13th, 14th, and we're 12 points clear of them. But it's easy to go out there and say, oh, go out there and do it. But we'd be sitting there absolutely raging if we went, what happened? We got torn to shreds. We were already 2-0 down at half time. We kept going positive. We should have got, and it's just perspective. It's just how the game plays out and goes. And that's ultimately what makes our opinions on it.
It is a very good thing, obviously. And, I would be absolutely fuming if we had lost 4-0. Please, oh, no. Oh, dear, Brad.
Oh, for God's sake. Fucking useless Man City. Sack a lot of them.
Well done, Bournemouth. You just saved. Can I just say, by the way, guess who's winning this week so far?
I'm guessing you just about somehow.
No, I'm bottom. I'm bottom again.
Are you? Steve?
Yeah. Steve, he's got 5 points with this, if this stays like this.
Which results did he get right then? Because he didn't get the Leicester one. Because I know I've got the West Ham.
He got Fulham Wolves as a draw, which is 1. Oh, no, he'll only have 4, so he's gone for... no, he has gone for Man City win, yeah. So he got 3 Leeds United, 1-0 over Southampton.
Oh, for God's sake, yes. Leeds.
And then he'll get a point for this. So, oh my God, my weekend's just got worse. I just realised these stuff.
Have you at least got a point on the board?
Yes, have. Thank God, I got a point on the board this week.
Oh,
Only
dear.
one. I won't have two because of this result, but Man City didn't let me down this week. But no, yeah, hindsight is a wonderful thing. If we'd lost 4 or 5-0, then I would have been totally and utterly peed off. Of course I would. But we could have lost 4 or 5-0 playing that way if we hadn't had, and you mentioned this earlier, so I'm going to come to you on this now. Just backing on what David said, and hello to Chris Welsh, by the way. Hope you are well as well. How did you get on? If we were so poor, which I agree to a point, why did Arsenal not batter us? I think they did batter us apart from the result. One positive I'd say is we defended resolutely with Sutar, Faze and Christensen, not Castagna. Agreeing with you. You said that, didn't you? Well, not about Castagna, but you did say about 1/3 of our defense was 1/3 of our team was good, and it was the defense.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you have to be when the onslaught's coming, which is where the bad performance on the, like I said, the midfield and the lack of attack that we actually had on display today, because the defence was brilliant. If we could find a way to clone Christensen and 2 of them be centre backs and 1 of them be a right back, we wouldn't need a defence. And that's saying something with how suited him, because Christensen for me was really good on that side. He kept it very quiet on at least one side of it. Arsenal were forced to attack our biggest problem right now, which is the right back situation, because I know we'll get to the ratings, but me and Blackwell might become friends on this week, because Castagna was not at his best for me today. He was probably the only one of that back line I didn't like.
I'm just putting this up, by the way, for Told You, not for you. Just in reply to you, Told You. But look, yeah, I mean, Christensen, I mean, he shows some passion. I've got to be honest with you. Now, I don't know if you saw it at halftime, and I didn't see much of the first half because my stream was down more than it was up. But at halftime, the linesman actually had to knock on Leicester's changing room door to say, "Come on, you're late. Come on out. Come on, get your arse into gear." And obviously, whether they were sort of all queuing for the toilet or whatever, but they weren't awake. And how often are we doing this again? It's the same mistakes over. I thought we'd got rid of this, conceding early in the second half.
Yeah, see, the thing is, that's what happens when you've got a run of fixtures that are very difficult, and you can say what you like about them on their given day. We know what they're capable of and how susceptible these teams we played can be on a given day. We showed that to Spurs, but sometimes it just doesn't work how you want to. And, it's a mind game thing. You keep the players in the change rooms an extra minute. You make them rush out so they've got a bit of energy when they go out there to really get themselves on the front foot. And you want to see, you're always managing the game minute by minute. And, that any side that's had a torrid season or isn't really living up to their expectations by a country mile, like West Ham, like West Ham and like Leicester, the 2 notable teams that are really underperforming this season in terms of where the fans expected to see them, that you just come up against a team, and even though it's going okay or you've got away with it and you've come in at half-time level, you want to see that first 10 minutes. And yet again, on that right-hand side of our defence, 48 seconds or 38 seconds or whatever it was, they got in behind, and the one time that Sutar couldn't keep his legs close and get the block in, and the one time Castagna got absolutely mugged off by Martinelli and balls in the back of the net.
Yes, it could have done. I don't know whether you can blame a player for keeping his legs open like that. I mean, it's a split-second thing, isn't it? But
yeah.
The second goal, which wasn't allowed, which was offside. Again, I just want to say this point. Sorry, Chris here saying you're up against the league leaders. It was a free hit. I get that to a point, but it's still, I'm still on about the performance. That was what I found.
I think the biggest thing to add that's kind of a mystery compiler for Leicester fans is we actually came into this game just suddenly scared because this weird, strange feeling had come over us where we were a little bit optimistic, and it was very unusual because us Leicester fans don't really understand this optimism because we're not used to having it when it comes to supporting Leicester. You're always on a nervous edge. So I think that adds to disappointment. And even though we knew it was going to be a stretch and a hard chance to get anything from this game, we actually felt it was possible before kick-off. And like I say, probably right even up until half-time, we thought there's still a chance because it was still 0-0, regardless of the control Arsenal had. And it's just the way there was no response to Arsenal's possession, in a sense.
I mean, first of all, why wasn't changes made at half-time? I think when I looked at that first half, I mean, in fairness to Rodgers, he has started waiting until like the 70th minute. He did make the changes on 60, and we'll come on to those in a second. But he could see how it was going. There's no way that anybody, I don't care, even you, Brad, at halftime thought that we were going to win this game.
No, not if it continued to go that way. There was no reason Leicester couldn't have changed things up. And this is what I mean, because it was the most confusing. It was the most confusing 45 minutes I've ever seen from Leicester as a whole, because I would have personally made a change at half time. I think there was a lot of things that happened and the changes that he continued to make throughout the game, which we'll break down as we go through the half. But yeah, everything about that second 45 really puzzled me because it was as far away from what I was hoping to see after the way the first half was than it could have ever have been. Because that was the moment where you go, okay, got away with it, defended well, go out and show something now. And then we could accept maybe 2-3, nil loss a bit better because at least we threw caution to the wind. But
let me ask you this question, just out of interest. What change would you have made at half time?
I would have taken off Tete and I would have put Daka on. And I would have maybe switched it to the 4-3-1-2.
That's interesting because I said in the chat, I don't know if you saw it at all, and in fairness, most people agreed with me, which is something I'm not used to. But I said, Ndidi off, Mendy on. I just think we really, really missed him today.
We did, but for the different reasons as why they played. And Rodgers has made that very clear with when he said we want to be attacking, and I need, when he was asked why he gave Mendy the chance against Villa, or he was going to play Mendy in them games, he said, I want someone who's got that aggression on the ball, who's going to drive it forward. And let's not forget what Ndidi's done. Some of you have been very fickle with Ndidi since he's been dropped from the team and forgetting how good he was for us in his first yes, I get that, but the talent, a natural talent is permanent. Form is temporary, and if he can find his feet and play like that and do his, because he is the true defensive midfielder. Because he didn't do anything good going forward, but he kind of tried and he didn't do it. But he's been given that new role to focus on. He had 1,000,001 jobs when he was the only one capable of doing that role. Now he's got competition. The way Brendan deployed the troops out there to go and do and play against Arsenal, Mendy was never going to get played. I would have waited to put Mendy on. And the only reason I would have waited, because I would have still made the change, I would have taken Ndidi off and I would have put Mendy on and not Samare. And that would have been, okay, let's see how 15 minutes go. Because if this positive change can get at Arsenal, I'm going to want to keep them on the front foot. And when they start edging back into the game, we're going to put the front foot back on them again. And that's when I'd make the change with Mendy, because you don't want to just completely full swing that, because you have to slowly build it, because the team's been so focused on defensive mentality. Switching to that attacking mentality does take the first 5-10 minutes of a game. See the job through, get through that 10 minutes, which Leicester seem to be biblically bad at doing at the start of the second half for whatever reason. But if they can just do it, that's when that switch of impetus makes the difference. We just never got going at all for that to work today.
Okay, so he's played this way against Arsenal. It's finished 4-1, by the way, Man City.
Yeah, stupid Bournemouth.
Well done, Bournemouth. I've got something to smile about at last.
Well, yeah.
And that's you not getting 3 points. That's how sad my life is at the moment. But he played that way at home against Bournemouth. Bournemouth. I can't remember mine. Against Arsenal. But he's not played that way at home against Spurs.
Yeah, I just wonder if when we look through that Arsenal team properly, though, do you really see a real areas that you think, if we can really expose that today, any team can beat them if they're better than them in that department? Not really. With Spurs, even Spurs fans were going, oh God, our defensive pairing, our midfield, if it doesn't turn up, you could turn us over. There wasn't too many whispers apart from the best blue tint out here in myself here, trying to be the most optimistic Leicester fan I can be at times. There wasn't that many voices thinking, oh, if we've got a stronger midfielder than them, they've got a shaky back line, we can really go at them, and yes, we might concede, but we're guaranteed if we play, we're going to get a goal. Like I said, you got to look at the season and where we are and take that into account as well. We're in a position where mentally going all out and losing 4-0 to Arsenal is not good. You know, who we got next? Okay, so it's Black.
Happened against Spurs.
It could have, but like I said, there was always a feeling that, yeah, okay, we know Spurs score against us. I mean, the only thing that was bizarre about Spurs' goals, it wasn't Kane.
We know.
Yeah, and again, it all counts fair and that, but again, you have to look at it as perspective. I don't like what's happened today in terms of, I'm not, this isn't me disagreeing because I'm 100% with you. That defence was the only shining point. But again, you have to look at how you have to manage that game, because if he makes that substitution though, Chris, and a ball across the box gets pinged in and Wilfred Ndidi scores and it's 1-1 today, suddenly we're seeing, again, it's all about how certain things happen in football. And Rodgers will do the best to his ability, whether you think that's a lot or not, is up to debate, but he will do his best on his ability to have some stern words with the players about not showing the impetus going forward, but he won't let it settle and he'll push on and he'll want to get the games going, starting with Blackburn.
And in fairness, I did actually say in the just after half time that if Mendy came in or was brought on, made a mistake that led to a second Arsenal goal, we'd all be going, why the hell did he bring him on? So I said that at the time. Fickle football fans. Yeah.
Of course.
Talking about fickle football fans, Richard, the West Ham fan, is in. He says actually to me, he says, look over your shoulder, Chris. I will do, Richard, because you know what? Oh, look, I can see the Premier League trophy. What can you see over your shoulder? Nothing. So, Richard, thank you for reminding me to look at that. That's something fun, and we have.
Yeah, there's only one thing that Richard will be looking over his shoulder at come the end of the season. That'll be Declan Rice kicking and screaming his way out the door.
Yeah, this is true.
So,
Richard, thank you so much. When you said
love you really, Rich.
Thought what you were dropping yourself into. What time is it now? 48:27. Just so I know when to clip that. That was great timing. Look over your shoulder. Yeah, I will do. Thank you. Okay, let's. I want to talk about the second goal that wasn't, because it was offside. Again, I think we possibly got away with that. If I'm honest with you, I think it was a lot tighter than Kelechi's, but it was given offside. The referee the linesman gave it. And I had to stand up for this guy because everybody thought, well, not everybody, a couple, and I can't remember who they are. I don't know if you're in the chat or not, so I'm not going to name you, but Schmeichel would have saved that.
Schmeichel didn't count.
And we're like, well, did he have another 2 or 3 foot to his height? Because that's the only way you're saving it, surely.
Yeah, there's no way he was saving that offside effort. I mean, it was a good effort. It was a great finish. And this is getting a bit annoying now. I'm starting to get a little bit pissed off. I'm starting to get a little pissed off with people because sometimes I just feel like you just need a scapegoat,
Hmm.
right? And I'm all for criticising players when they don't play well. I think it's perfectly warranted. I don't like people that are like, oh, don't criticise them, don't criticise them. They're not 5 years old, right? If they have a bad game, their manager's not going in there. You know, the manager shouldn't be in there if they play badly, going, it's okay. No, he should be telling them, look, you know you played badly, you've let them down, we need to do better, right? But when they actually don't have a bad game, just because we've lost today, why is it, man, world shit, world's this, no, don't just hate on somebody for hating on someone. Chilwell was it last season, but when Chilwell played well, I was all for it, right? Luke Thomas has been it at times this season, especially since Christensen's come in. Now suddenly he's a waste of space and we should send him out on loan to bloody someone in the non-league because he's no good to us when Justin's back. He's never going to play for Leicester ever again. And so don't just, you know, bemoan a performance if it deserves to be bemoaned. That, trust me, in the ratings that will happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing he could do about the goal. It's two defensive errors that leave him flat-footed for their eventual goal that wins them the game. And he made a few good saves to make sure it stayed at that. Let's not just go in on him just because we had a terrible start to the season, because, you know, he was for the best part of the first quarter of the season, his front line his defensive line in front of him was foreign to him half the time because he didn't know who was going to be playing. At one point, I think we was dreading a bloody Vestergaard and Soyuncu appearance together in the Premier League. We were that desperate for players to be fit. So give the guy a break, can we? Don't just go, oh, we lost because it's Ward's fault. Because that's what I feel like some fans do sometimes. And I'm not for it if he's not played badly.
You know that you're talking to the converted, preaching to the converted when it comes to Ward. You know, I go back and, you know, it was me that said, let's get rid of Schmeichel at the end of last season and bring Ward through. So I agree with you 100% on everything that you're saying. And I'm not even in the goalkeepers union. So
yeah, I know.
Can I just say, at the moment, 5 points to Steve, 2 to you and me, Brad.
I'll take that. I mean, Steve's not a worry, bless him. It's like hearing that like Barrow or someone have got through the qualifying rounds of the FA Cup. They're going to meet the first round and get someone like Derby County in the first round of the FA Cup, and it's good for them. But poor Steve, he needs a couple of wins, bless him. Perk him up a bit.
You're ahead. It's me who's catching up. You know. Like
yeah, but if you're level with me on points, I keep my gap over you. I'm not worried about that. Steve can get his couple of point wins every week. He'll need more than a few to catch us.
He is the West Ham of the Prediction League. He'll have a couple of good results and then he'll go back to being shite again. Hello, Steve, if you're watching. How the devil are you? Okay, so yeah, like I say, I think we're singing off the same hymn sheet on there, but I just thought I'd give you something to moan about.
Thanks very much. I needed that today.
Yeah. Talk to me about the changes. 61 minutes. We had Tete and Kelechi came on. Went off. Sorry, Tete and Kelechi went off. Vardy and Tielemans came on. Almost like for like, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw the subs warming up, and first of all, and don't anybody jump down my throat at the instance on this first one, because you know where I actually stand on how Vardy's going to play his part at Leicester.
Sorry, can I just bear with me 1 second, because I know Anthony is out. But he has just popped in. So I just want to say while he is in, I approached Anthony and I approached Melina to come on the show to talk about it, because I think Arsenal's tactics today were disgusting. Yes, they definitely 100% deserve to win. But like I say, they go down just like a prostitute on double time. They spent more time on their arse than they did actually playing football, Arsenal cheaters, and I really, really hope Manchester City now go on and win the Premier League. So Arsenal, if you're going to win by cheating and spending all the time on the floor, not just time wasted, somebody went into one of their players' back and you went down holding his head. Pansies, a team full of North London pansies and cheaters. That's what you are. You've got a team full of Jack Grealishes at Arsenal, and I really hope Manchester City stuff you. Do apologise, Brad. I wanted to get it while he was in. Do carry on.
What was I saying? You threw me off there. What was I actually saying? Genuinely,
we're talking about substitutions.
Yeah, there was two things that went through my mind when I saw the substitutions. I saw it was Vardy on the touchline, and I went, "Oh no, this is the wrong substitution." And then I saw the substitutions that it was taking off because I expected the change. Then that's when I would have been expecting to see. Okay, I was expecting Daka. I'll be perfectly honest, and I'll explain why. Because with Vardy, he's someone now that has to come on as an impact when the game's done and he's trying to stretch the defence. We've got our noses in front, and he wants to stretch the defence. Daka needs to be on for the impetus. We need to exploit him as the pace merchant through this middle, like Vardy in that sense, but keep Iheanacho on. So when I realised it was like for like, I went, because Tielemans was attacking, but he was just swapped him out. So it was like, where were we lining up? Because Tete was lost on the right. So did Pratt go there? And then I was like, what? That's not what I thought. Because I really at that point would have been expecting, okay, we're 1-0 down. Indeed, he come off. Mendy come on. Because he does like to not. He's the ball winning midfielder, and that's the football manager term coming out there. He's the ball winning midfielder that will win the ball but drive forward with it. He's on that support role, if you will. For those geek gamers that know what I'm on about, in the way I'm describing it, he's got that drive. I thought he would come on, and I thought Dak would come on maybe for Tete and would reshape and would go two up front. The fact that he persisted with like changes for another 10-15 minutes before making it two up front, and it was the wrong two up front, was where the confusion in my afternoon went. And it was really at that point I went, okay, we aren't getting anything from this game. Let's keep it 1-0. That was for me when I was at the stage of you, Chris, where I was actually raging, because I was like, that's disappointing, Brendan. The one chance you had to kind of show Leicester, I'm trying everything by putting the players on to change how we're going about it. They're just not being able to, execute it on the pitch. I can't help that. I send them out there with instructions, but the way he did it was frustratingly baffling, because I do agree with some of the things you said at the start about Brendan being same old with that, because that was disappointing. He had a chance there, I felt, Brendan.
On those substitutions, two people I want to say hello to. Two people I want to just call out on that. But again, Anthony just replied, I'll watch it later on Match of the Day and I'll give my views to you, Chris. And I've just put down here, Arsenal highlights, fall down, fell over, go down.
Yeah.
Love you, Anthony. Love you.
Yeah.
Tete, did we get too excited about him too soon? Is he under mark too?
I don't think so. Today, we were very much starved of any attacking impetus. And when we had any form of an attack potential in the making, we kind of got picky on our food choices and didn't seem to like it and wanted to recycle it. And that was the most annoying thing as well today, wasn't it? Because just that half glimmer of a half chance or a half attack, if you will. That's how desperate we're getting to talk about anything in an attacking sense from Leicester. But just that drive, that almost not that confident in themselves to get past Arsenal, because we just allowed them to get bodies back, which didn't help. And Tete, a winger's job isn't to try and take the ball past 3 or 4 players and then drive it into the box. No, we know what we get with Tete. It's somebody who's got a lot of pace to burn, and you get the ball in behind and he runs onto it and he runs past that defender and he puts in a whip cross. He wasn't given that today. We talk about Vardy doesn't get his service and don't blame Vardy. Well, I'll flip that here. Say Tete didn't get the service today.
And are we something that Under didn't get the chance to do? Is it's only been 2-3 games, is it, for Tete? He's going to get, as we always say, and I know you don't like me mentioning, but he who must not be mentioned, he took to English football like he'd been here since he was a boy. Other players, Sumar, etc., take a little bit longer. There was times I'm thinking, pass the ball, and he's trying to be Brazilian, which obviously he is. But you see where I'm coming from. He just seems like, you're trying to do the spectacular. Just sometimes do the simple ones. The other player that I wanted to ask you about, and you mentioned this, Jamie Vardy. You know my thoughts on Vardy, so I'm not going to sort of go over them. But you said there we need to use him now as an impact sub. At what point is he going to come on and have an impact?
When you're 3 or 4-1 up against Spurs, and you're just really wanting to tire them out and not give them away or any sniff of a way back into a game. You want Jamie Vardy on that pitch if we're 1-0 up against Arsenal and we're not really wanting to leave ourselves too exposed. But you see what he does. He still menaces their back line. The only time I actually heard a little bit of a "ooh" from the Leicester fans thinking, hey up, if he gets a Torres, was when Vardy was on loan strike and he was actually pressing. That's what you put Jamie Vardy on for. You don't use Jamie Vardy when you're 1-0 down or you're 1-1, you're going for it.
Mm-hmm.
You do not, when you need goals right now with where his career is at this point, and it's sad, but we knew this day was coming where this would be a part of his career, where he'd have to be this sort of striker. You don't put him on when you're chasing the game, especially when it's top of the league. What you do with him is you go, we'll save you for Blackburn, mate, if we need you. We've got you. We'll keep you in the tank and fresh for Blackburn in the cup. We'll keep you fresh for a chance, And today should have been... And again, he didn't have his best of games. He was actually quite bad today, in my opinion. I agree with the early comment you put up, the KI one where we got confused and we had to remember his name's not Nacho, it's Ian Nacho. But
I kept thinking KDH.
I did, because
like me, he couldn't spell Kelechi Nacho.
Yeah, but that point was very true. But in that moment, we needed to keep him on the pitch because how we tried to change our system would have actually suited Ian Nacho a lot more. And Brendan, fucking learn just once. Just please learn from things that you hear. Somebody send these in on an emails. Our match reports, anybody else that's talk about it. Maybe just somebody make him see it sometimes, because sometimes it's like, oh, Brendan, when you're playing pin the tail on a donkey, you're trying to really help that child put it. You tell them to go a little bit left and they take one step to the right, and you just go, oh, for fuck, she was so close to putting it on the tail and she's gone the wrong way. That's what it's like having Brendan as your manager, because just when you think he's going to get it smack bang on, he goes, what, this way? And you go, no, Brendan, not this way. Why are you doing this?
You don't remember the golden shot with Bob Monkhouse and Ann Aston?
Oh, no.
They used to have, basically, it was a crossbow game, and they'd have a huge target at one end of the studio, and then a guy on a crossbow at this end. And the highlight of the show was that they'd blindfold the guy with the crossbow, and then somebody watching would have to say, right, left a bit, left a bit, left a bit, up a bit, until it was obviously in line with the ball, and you shoot. And the classic story was that this person was doing it, and absolutely way off. And Bob Monkhouse jokingly said, like, you have got your telly on, haven't you? And the guy said, no, I haven't got a telly. So he was trying to do, and that was Brendan today.
Yeah, that's an applicable way to sum it up, isn't it? Because just everything he did was confusing and wrong in the same movement.
Talking about that, and let's stick it all in together. Pratt and Ndidi off, Daka Sumari on, Castagna off, Ricardo on.
Yeah. One thing I will say here. I think we're going to start to hope and pray that Ricardo's over these long-standing injuries that he's had over the last few years, because I ain't really fancying Castagna as a right back these days. I've been very underwhelmed with his performances. And again, today, for 45 minutes, he was able to do it with a little bit of help. But the one time he was left exposed cost us dearly. Castagna, I was kind of glad in a way that Ricardo got 5 minutes. I didn't think he was going to be able to do anything, which ultimately he didn't. But if that leads to him getting 70 minutes, 75 minutes cleanly against Blackburn in a good performance, I think that's one change we'll definitely be looking at next week for our next game. Because
he took Pratt off, who was on the right wing.
Yeah.
And was Stacker on the right wing, or was he going forward? And if he's on the right wing, what the fuck are you doing putting a striker on the right wing? He ain't going to score from there. I just get totally...
Yeah, I was a little bit lost with them. I was a little bit lost, to be fair.
I mean, 4 years, should we be used to this from Brendan by now?
Yeah, I think we are. But again, with Leicester fans, we just like a little bit of change, everything. We just like to be kept on our toes. It's the Leicester way. We don't like a boring roller coaster, but it would have been nice for this roller coaster journey to have picked up and gone upwards a bit.
Yeah, it's been almost like it's going down a hill because it's just down, up a bit, down, up a bit, down, up a bit. There's no big ups this season. But if I read these stats out, and I know you don't like stats, but if you didn't know the result today, tell me which of these teams do you think were at home? So one team had 34% possession.
Oh, hello. You froze on my end, mate.
10 shots, 7 shots on target, and 8 corners.
I had none of that because you froze.
Did I? I do apologise.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just for me it froze, but
right. I'll do it. I'll try again then. Take 2. Now then, if I read these out to you, Brad, if you didn't know the score, tell me which you think would be the home team and which you think would be the away team. So one team, 34% possession, 1 shot, none on target, no corners. Team B, 68% possession, 10 shots, 2 on target, 8 corners. Which of those would you think was the home team?
Going on just pure bias of what you want to see from a home team, you'd have thought that the B team, which clearly isn't Leicester in this case, isn't home team, but you'd have thought the B team would have been Leicester, would have been the home team.
Yes, yeah. No, I was just interested. David says, when you watch a game, where's my mouse gone? Here we go. When you watch a game like today, do you think we went into defensively minded and we need to cut the team some slack, or we played a better team who had all their best players and we really missed Madders? Then I'll go first on that one because I'll keep it quick. Well, obviously we missed Madders, but we can't rely on one player all the time. You know, it's like, you know, when they didn't have Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool and they were, we're missing it's a team game. It's not tennis. You know, it's not one person on the team. Yes, we miss him, but we've got to get over that somehow. The team were poor, but the team were poor because of one person, in my opinion. And that's where the book stops, and that's Mr. Rogers. That's me. Your turn.
I think the mindset to a degree was the one that we kind of maybe in the back of our heads knew we'd see, but didn't really want to because we wanted to keep the positive style of play going. But I agree. I think it was a bit too cautious. And in the end, that's being too cautious is probably what played a big part in Leicester forget having the engine tick over, but they couldn't even get the engine to splutter and turn the ignition or find the ignition to put the keys in going forward, let alone having any attack and drive forward. And yes, I'm with you. You can't just circle your success and failures down to one player being on the pitch or not, because that's ultimately not fair on Madders of the rest that do play quite well around him. But yeah, sometimes when you've got a player
like that and he's on form, he does bring other players in.
I think that was the thing when I did the team, wasn't it? I said if Madders plays, he probably doesn't put out this lineup. He probably just go defensive.
No, it was. You did. You exactly said that. And I'm sorry if I recoiled then. That wasn't at you. It's because Liverpool are in their away strip and it looks like me telly was going wrong. Liverpool is awful. Talking about cars again, not having engines. There used to be. You wish you were older and you knew all my analogies. But there used to be a TV show called Candid Camera. It's a bit like Beadle's About, but for black and white tellies. And they had this thing where they would push a car into a petrol station and this was the days before self-service, the guy would come out and he'd say, well, can you check the oil? Now, that guy's just seen that car arrive into the petrol station, opens the bonnet, and there's no engine there. Because they've pushed it in, and he's looking, he can't understand what happened. That was it today. We had the car, but we did not have the engine because Brendan Rodgers bloody took it away.
Yeah, he did. And again, I kind of had a feeling when I saw the news, Maddison wasn't available. I did kind of do what probably every Leicester fan went, shit.
Yeah.
I think we knew how that meant we was going to approach the game, and the lineup that followed didn't really disappoint that feeling, unfortunately. And it was just one of them. And
well, those are our predictions. I would take some comfort in the fact that I was closer than you were, but I still don't get anything.
Yeah, I know. All for naught as it is in that case. Yeah. But
Ian Marshall was the only one to get a point today.
That opens up his gap on me then. Great.
Well, that's the table. Now, I don't decide when people are on the same points who's above and who's below. I think it's on alphabetical. So, Brad, you're on the same number of points as Ian Wilson, but the B is above the I. I'm still in second, basically because I think Chris rather than Ian. But it is quite tight there. Steve Leinix, 4 points at the bottom. Just thought I'd mention that in case you're watching, Steve. Let me. I'm not going to go into these in any great detail, but I do just want to show some of the stats, if you will bear with me, Brad. Like I say, I don't want to go into too much detail, but it kind of just sums the match up here when you look at it. I mean, I pressed the wrong thing here. Bear with me, caller. Summary team stats. Here we go. So the ratings, we're going to do those separately, but Kieran Dewsbury Hall was only the only Leicester player that got in the top 5. Total shots, Dewsbury Hall just about sneaked into the top 5. Yeah, we had plenty of tackles, but maybe that's because we had to. And the only thing you can say that, dribbles was anything that was decent. The match summary, Leicester lost possession often, gave away a lot of free kicks around the box, were caught offside often. Arsenal, Leicester had no strength, so they were all weaknesses. We had absolutely no strengths whatsoever. Arsenal were effective at creating goal-scoring opportunities from long-stop situations, but they were caught offside a lot as well. The styles, we played with width, we favoured long shots, we attacked down the left and the right-hand side. Didn't think there was another side, did you? And we favoured long balls. Arsenal had a large quantity of possession in their opponent's half, favoured long shots, attacked down the right side, and dominated possession. I think that just about does sum the game up, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty accurate representation. They had a lot of ball, and we were pretty shy with it.
It did, yes. With the bit of time that we had with it.
Very true. Yeah, wasn't a lot of it, was it?
No. Right. So what we were going to do now is we will do the player ratings, but because I've got to play around with a few things, misses. Let me just say that we will be doing that straight after this.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Yeah, look at that. Just got in there. Last week I failed. This is like the Krypton factor for me. Last week I failed, but this week I got it all done on time. You see, playing the longer jingle, that's what helps. Right, let us have a look. A couple of comments here. Smile, you're on. Exactly told you. You're older than I thought you were. Smile, you're on candid camera. Right, so let's see if you and Jordan are going to be big buddies, or are you going to be the Ant and Dec, or are you going to be the Chuckle Brothers? Let's have a look and see which way you are going to go. So let us get where the hell's it gone? Let me get these things up. They changed. I hate the Leicester Mercury. Here we go. Right, sir. So, do you want to go first, or shall I let Jason go first, even though he's not here? But you know what I mean.
I'll go first for this one because I've got a funny feeling I'm going to end up in a fight.
Danny Ward.
Again, can't just blame him just because we lost today's game. I don't think there's too much he can do in terms of the goal. People might criticise and say, "Oh, he could have raced out of his goal," but your centre back gets nutmegged and your right back gets absolutely skinned alive to the ball. In half a second, the ball's at you. There's not really much you can do. I don't think he had a bad game. He made a very clever and good save to not only keep it at 2-0, but he never put it into a danger area. Very fortunate with the VAR decision that went in his favour. From what I've seen of it, others do disagree, and that's fine because it's one of them. I haven't been able to see it numerous of times like others have, so I appreciate that. I'm going to actually give him a 6.
Okay. I think I couldn't really blame him, and I thought he did pull off again one other good save. But Martinelli's finish was right in the corner, but he may be disappointed to have been beaten from such a tight angle. He did make one decent shot from Zinchenko, what I'm referring to, but had little to do other than with his hands or his feet, and he got a 5 off Mr. Blackwell. So look, nobody's voted yet. Mr. Castagno. I think what I might do next week. What do you think if I actually do one where I actually just fill it in as we go along? The two scores next to each other.
Yeah, you can do that. That'd be all right with me. That'd work. Yeah.
It might be interesting. Mr. Castagno.
He was okay at parts, but he required a lot of help and support down his side. Something that, although it was needed with Christensen, it's not needed in as desperation as numbers as it seems, because he seems quite calm and collect. But for probably the third week in a row, fourth game in a row, maybe in total, it's hard to tell when the Tottenham result was so convincing. But even against Villa, Man United, obviously, and again today, he got schooled a little bit, and he's been getting schooled a little bit for that right side for the last, like I said, 3 or 4 games. And today he wasn't even able to impress with his attacking prowess that he shows when he's worked well alongside Tete. I think Jordan Blackwell's getting a bit catchy because I'm giving him a 4. I don't think he was good at all today. And it's not just today that he's earned that 4. I say earned, that's probably the wrong choice of words. But he's warranting that 4 that's how he's been throughout the last 3 or 4 games.
Right. Well, Jason's given him 7. No, he hasn't.
Don't do that to me, Chris, because I'm already in pain as it is, mate. I'm trying to.
The thing is, if I said that, you would have believed me, wouldn't you? You wouldn't have.
I would have, because it's Jason. I would have just believed he's got nothing at it.
He's actually very close with you. He's gone 5 again. He nearly gifted Arsenal a golden chance with a dreadful header in the first half, and he got caught under a few high balls as well. He looked better on the ball when Tielemans came on and Pratt moved to the right, but this was not one of his better games, and he's given him a 5. I think you two might be, say, bosom buddies by the end of this. Harry Suter. Suits you, sir.
Oh, for God's sake. Right. Anyway, did really well, to be honest with you. Like I said, you're talking about shining lights. That goal aside, there was nothing really too clinical that Arsenal had to worry about Ward just by looking at what was said about his actual overall performance, and Ward tells you he didn't actually have that much to be worried about, despite the control of possession that Arsenal had in and around our own half. I feel sorry for him because 2 tiny mistakes he's made in his Leicester career have been a sliced own goal, which is just the wild face initiation, and then this goal goes through his legs to ultimately end up at Martinelli's feet. But that aside, he was actually really good. He was actually really calm when you thought there was a few moments where you go, "Oh God, what is he going to do with it?" And he just, "Thank you very much. I've got this ball. Next, please. Where's my outsource?" Very calm, very collective. He gets to 7.
Okay.
Me and Jason are about to throw fists now, aren't we?
Yes. Totally 110 million%. Because, well, let's say he was fortunate to get away with hauling down Saka for a first half penalty appeal.
Really?
With that, yeah.
Did he? Okay, fair enough. You've seen more replays than me, but I didn't see nothing in it.
Well, I didn't see it live. Then I saw somebody say about penalty in the chat, and I went back and it caught back and went, oh, one of those that I would have been shouting for. I've actually got him in down here, penalty claim, and I forgot to ask you. I'm glad I didn't, because you didn't see it.
I didn't see it more than once anyway. I only saw it live. I didn't see it.
And he was fooled by Trossard for the Martinelli goal. The Belgian prodding through his legs. Lots of his forward balls didn't pay off either. And Jason has given him a 4.
Oh, behave, Jason. Come on now. How many interceptions and blocks did he make? Sorry, is his job to be an attacking midfielder? Sorry, I forgot that our whole sort of forward momentum was solely relying on a Harry Souttar pass. No, he's a centre-back, you absolute clown.
I love it. I knew you were going to go mad at that one.
John Blackwell, you absolute clown. Sorry, the way he's just rated him then on the reasons he's given for. I'm sorry, does Harry Souttar play centre-back or centre-mid? Because I didn't know Leicester's whole entire attack, so completely 100% focused on whether Harry Souttar could make a good pass or not. No, his job's to get he put his body on the line, make blocks, make interceptions, recover the ground.
Well, that's another film. We don't go there.
Oh yeah, mate. Well, he's wound me up with that 4 shout. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, as Harry Potter fans would say.
Oh, we've had to wait 1 hour 22 minutes for the first rant from Brad, but there it is. I know if I don't get you at the start of the show, I'll get you at the end. I don't know if I dare go on to this next one. Vout phase.
Fairly solid. They complemented each other in a way in what was a frustrating and very challenging afternoon for the back line for obvious reasons. And again, praise to them for doing their part in trying to keep Arsenal out and get away with something from it, because I think they were really sturdy. He covered well. He covered Harry Souttar when he did try and venture out. You know, that centre mid that our whole world revolves around. He also covered Christensen when he got caught out trying to be a positive outlet for Leicester, and Arsenal gained the ball. I thought he was reasonably well. He had a few moments where you kind of went, ooh, but he always seemed to get his head to the ball. He always seemed to wrap his foot around it and make a block. I can give him another 7.
7.
7. It's a Doug special. 7.
There we go. I meant to get a thing for that and I forgot. Okay, Vout phase. A much calmer showing from the big head Belgian, who stuck to his defensive duties and didn't rashly rush out or dive in. There were still a few desperate moments, but he usually recovered to get in a clearance or a block. 6 he got. So 6, 7, there or thereabouts. David has agreed with you about Souttar. He'd have gone a 6 for him as well.
Yeah, see, 6 we can't. 6 is, me, Chris. If I give a 7 and someone says 6, I can get on board with it.
Yeah, oh no, we've said
but
this.
4 was just like, what the fuck are you doing, Blackwell?
One person's 7 is somebody else's 8. Is the third.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. We lay that. I haven't disagreed with anything that you've come across yet. Victor Christensen.
Can we clone him? Can we clone him and train him to play centre back? And can we clone him and train him to play right back? Because
centre mid, according to
oh
George.
yeah, centre mid, left wing, striker. The Leicester City, just in general, is this one player? I never thought I would say this, and I know it's only like 4 or 5 games into, but it feels like one of them players for me. You talk about players that hit the ground running when they join. Well, I hope this guy's nothing like the French Voldemort, because I hope he is in terms of hitting the ground running and playing the way he does, but I hope he doesn't treat our club the way the French Voldemort did, to be more accurate, because this guy is just brilliant. Everything he does, he's always throwing his arms in the air because he's demanding the ball, he's demanding more, he's trying to get the crowd fired up, he's trying to get his teammates fired up, he's cheering, the corner flag's being put out before the pre-match, he's that excited for it. There is nothing you can't not love about Christensen, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but James Justin must be thinking, I've got something to go up against here for competition on this left-hand side, because he looked good. It was one of them games where nothing attacking-wise is going to worth merit talking about, because we didn't offer anything. But in terms of what you asked him to do, the challenge he was putting in, the backtracking he was doing, the cover work he was doing, he gets an 8 from me. He was our standout defender out of the 4 for me.
What did Jason say, boys?
I'm fearful I might end up exploding if Jason continues up with this attitude.
Up against a tough opponent in Saka, he did a grand job. He stopped him in the one-on-one situations while protecting the back post well too when crosses came from the other side. He stepped onto to intercept when he could as well. 7. So, fairness is agreeing with you. 7, like we say, 7-8. You know,
he's taking my notes. Is this Jordan? He's getting there.
He's learning, isn't he? 4. Here we go. Indeedy.
I understand the logic behind him getting picked, and you really can't have a go at him for us not having any attacking impetus, which I'm guessing Jordan will say he offered nothing going forward, forgetting what kind of defender Indeedy is. He didn't actually have as bad a game as people may think. It's just the way he unfortunately goes about, or is being asked to go about playing his game, means he's absolutely nullifying us going forward. And that's what you do when you play 2 central defensive midfielders. That's exactly what you're expecting to do. Got back, made some clumsy challenges, but the referee was giving nothing for both sides, really, at some points during the game. I'll be perfectly honest with you with some of the decisions he was giving. So, again, it's just been one of them. I'm going to give him a 6 because I don't actually think he did anything wrong. If you look at the grand scheme of what he's asked to do and what he did, he actually did it all okay. It's just he tried. I'm not sure what it was he was trying, but he tried something going forward, but it just never worked. So, yeah, 6.
When you say 2 defensive midfielders, are you saying we were playing Kieran Dewsbury-Hall as a defensive midfielder?
Yes, he was in a deeper line today. He was actually sitting.
If you want
alongside him,
midfielder, should you not have played Mendy? I mean, does that not? Do you remember when we said this about Tielemans when he was being defensive? It's kind of letting the dog out on a run, but tying his lead to the tree.
Yeah, I understand that, but the thing is, the it's not necessarily that they're both playing as defensive midfielders. They're just playing in that defensive position of that midfield. Dewsbury-Hall would probably have been, and again, I'm getting the technical, the analytic terms where the scouts and all that would refer to it as, and he's that deep lying playmaker. He'll come and get the ball deep, but Dewsbury-Hall's the one that drives forward with it, and indeed he was played today to sit back. And that's the difference, if you could still play 2 defensive midfielders and be attacking, but then you're leaving yourself exposed completely in that middle of the park, which is why I don't really blame Ndidi for his performance today, because he's that defensive-minded one. Dewsbury-Hall was having to do it from deeper, but he's expected to pick up the ball deeper and drive Leicester forward with it.
Well, you got a 6 for Ndidi off yourself. He nipped in occasionally, says Jordan, but not as often as you hoped he would. When defending, he slipped over often, while lots of Arsenal zippy football passed him by. He's given him a 9, though. So
Yeah,
no,
right.
no,
Yeah.
he's not. It's giving him 5. So again, 5, 6. You're in each other's pockets there. The aforementioned Mr. Dewsbury Hall.
He actually tried to be creative for the very, very. I think it's a good job he didn't show the heat map, because the heat map on Leicester's attacking left and right hand side would be in the minus temperatures. There would have been no heat there. But I did on occasion see him try and make some runs to stretch their defence, to give Leicester an option to keep going forward, which they annoyingly didn't take that option and always seemed to turn it down. Again, whether that's the tactics or the mentality of the players, I don't know, maybe a bit of both. But he tried to get out on the wide if he wasn't getting success. He tried to get us forward. You know what I say, A for effort, but it was a 6 for me. He was kept fairly quiet, and that's not, again, it's you can't really blame him for that. You give your opposition 80% of the ball for the majority of the match.
Yeah,
you don't get a chance to really do much.
So many of Jason can't type it. So many of City's food opportunities to counter came through Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Must have had a burger van outside, eh?
Maybe.
So many of City's good opportunities to counter came through him, getting on the ball and galloping up the pitch with it. But he was always caught in two minds over the ball to play, and he generally lacked efficiency, meaning City did not create chances. He ran hard as usual, but needs to work on his final ball and decision making. He got a 5.
Yeah.
So in the ballpark, and he gets a 6 off David there, as you can see. Just to say, 20 minutes gone in the last game of the day. Palace 0, Liverpool 0 at the moment. Come on, Liverpool.
Yeah, I think we both went for Liverpool win on that one, so I'll definitely take Liverpool winning.
Okay. Dennis Pratt.
I hated this. I really did. Because I was so happy to see him on the starting lineup, because I thought, Brandon's going to do the usual sucker punch here. He's going to put Tielemans in Maddison's position, and we're not going to see Pratt again. He got the start, and then I hated it. And I'll tell you why I hated it. Because whilst what he did was good, I hated how he was utilised today. Because anything that I saw Dennis Pratt do with any good drive and ambition, I suddenly realised he was 30 yards forward, and he was only 30 yards ahead of Danny Ward at times. He was doing the old Jamie Vardy role, and I could not understand it. I absolutely hated seeing it, because if ever was an outlet of somebody that could get the ball high up and hold it up and be clever with it, it's someone of what Dennis Pratt can do. That's the job Dennis Pratt can do. And I hated seeing him being played in a way that just completely negated what he was good, because he went missing. He went missing at periods, and the fact is, my most fond memories of the highlights, and I'm saying that very tongue-in-cheek there for Leicester today, of the good things that Dennis Pratt did on that pitch were an hour and a half, and that's just not right. That's not right. As your right winger, your centre attacking mid, whatever role he was technically taking at any point of the pitch, he ended up doing a better job of a job he shouldn't have been told to do, and wasn't able to do the job that he was put in a position to do. Again, another thing that confused me with Brendan Rodgers, because he's the reason that Castagne is doing the job he's doing and getting back as deep as he was. So I'm going to have to give him a 5. But he doesn't deserve it, but he does, because he didn't do what he technically was on the pitch to do. But when he did do something right,
it wasn't his best game. You know as well, I am a Pratt lover. That's why I get on with you.
I know. And Dave.
No, you know, I love Dennis Pratt. It wasn't his best game. I mean, I think it was summed up. He got down into this sort of far corner, chipped the ball over. I think there were 2 Leicester players on the edge of the box, and the ball went out and was closer to the far corner flag when it landed. And that kind of summed up his whole afternoon for me. He got, as ever, he was good. He was quick and intelligent in his pressing up the pitch, occasionally winning the ball, and he had plenty of nice touches and interplay. It's just the lack of end product that stops him being a really top player. You gave him 5. Jordan gave him 6. But David only gave him 4. But 4, 5.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm not saying this, but I disagree with Jordan because I think he's been a bit too nice to Pratt there.
He can't win, can he?
I can't. No, he can't, Jordan. Forget it. Don't challenge me to game of Tiddlywinks. You'll never win, mate.
Tete time. What are we going to go?
Okay, I just said his name. I'm about to probably give a bit of a Blackwell rating here, and it's going to contradict what I say, but you're going to maybe understand why when you ask me the question why. Tete was
why
back help. Well, Tete was definitely on the pitch today, but the only evidence you had of that was a couple of flash crosses, and he was back really helping Castagne out today. You know, he was digging Castagne out of a lot of precarious moments in that first half just to give him an outlet. He was more there to collect the ball. Again, a bit like Dennis Pratt. I was so annoyed and hated seeing where he was sometimes being asked to pick the ball up from and drive us forward when it was hard enough just to get the fucking ball, let alone drive forward from, 30 yards inside your own half with your right winger on the ball. But he was left. He was left out in the cold at points in that game when he was not helping out at the back. He never got the ball. He was starved of service, and he just was not able to affect the game in the way he wanted to, and the way Leicester fans were hoping he would. This is harsh. I'm going to say this, but the fact that he was actually starved of the ball, and it's not his fault he didn't get it in attacking senses, and when he did, it was either overhit or he just couldn't get going like anybody else could today going forward. I'm going to give him a 4.
4. Ooh. Mr. Harsh.
And it's one of them. But it's one of them. It's one of them where it's a 4, but it's because of his lack of action on the ball than what he did when he had it, in a sense, if that makes any sense.
I've got to give you this. Only because it was Mr. Cowell there. Yeah, I get what you mean. He didn't particularly shine against Man United, but then again, the few chances that where he did create gave problems to United, they were usually him. You've given him a 4. He gave the ball away cheaply with poor clearances early on, but when it came to him in attacking areas, he did occasionally look a little threat as he dribbled towards the box. When teammates had the ball, he wasn't alert enough to make himself an option. He gave him a 5. So, yeah, we say there or thereabouts. And David went for a 5 for Tete time as well. Mr. Iheanacho. I can't even play the song today.
Oh, well, that's disappointing me.
I have no reason to play it.
I know.
You know I love him. You know I love him to bits, but I'm sorry, it just wasn't his day today.
Today, unfortunately for Leicester, and this, in fact, Iheanacho, when he got the ball in a forward position, probably had the performance that completely summed up any Leicester attack. Because today, something that I've been very, backing and proud of and saying how well he can do it these days, is controlling the ball. Normally, it's drilled him in the area quite heavy, and you see his legs almost U-bend shape inwards to somehow control it, and then he kind of stumbles over it and somehow keeps the ball at his feet. Today, his legs were like fucking elastic, because every time that ball seemed to hit his shins or his knee, it'd go 10 yards backwards. It was not his finest game today, and the shape and the approach did nothing to improve that. And for me, even though it wasn't his best performance, he was the one that truly did not benefit from going to up front, because he ultimately got taken off. He gets a 4 from me today. He came off. He didn't deserve to come off, because I think the 2 should have been used to favour him and not the old rear guard of Vardy. But he went back to that Iheanacho from the first 6 months of his career at Leicester with his performance today.
When the ball was pumped forward to him, he used his body and feet terrifically to outmuscle Arsenal defenders and bring the ball down.
Did he?
But it very well, according to Jordan, don't know what match he was at, but it very much came to anything because of his lack of support. Plus, when others had the ball on the counter, he didn't quite make the right runs to help them. 6 for him today, off Jordan. But
really, Jordan?
The good news is that David agrees with you there and has given him a 4.
Yeah, again, he was the benefit. He was just a sucker punch of a bad system, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mr. Barnes.
Again, he tried, and again, for the very rare, probably half a second we were in their final third, let alone in their area, he was probably that little spark that looked to try and create something. He came inside, he had a little bit of freedom, and let's face it, no matter how poor we were going forward and how disheartened we were as fans, I can tell you this much, there was probably Arsenal fans at 70-odd minutes going, yeah, Man City were like this against Forest. We all know how that ended. That's not, they're looking a little bit like if we let them turn the engine on, they'll get going, sort of thing. And Barnes, for the best part, actually tried it. Look, it just wasn't a good showing in attack. Let's just write that one off as what it is. And you see a duck and you look at a duck and you think it's a duck, you call it a duck, and let's just call it what it is. So I have to give him a 6 because he at least tried in that sense, but
I thought you were going to finally agree on one. He says he didn't get into the game in the first half either because he was on his heels that the passes weren't finding him. He was a little more involved in the second half and delivered one excellent cross today, but otherwise he didn't get by his man, and he got a 5.
Yeah, all right, I'll let him have that one.
What I'm going to say with regards to the substitutes, did anybody get above a 5 for you of the substitutes?
No, but can I give Daka a 2?
He got a 4 off. Tielemans got a 5. Vardy, Soumare, and Daka got a 4. And Pierre wasn't on long enough for him to get a rating. So
yeah, I mean, the only one of them I'd really want to talk about is Daka. Because I'm going to be a bit critical here. He had the chance to prove that it had made more sense for him to come on for Vardy over him. And the only thing I know that Daka did today was he caught someone's studs and miscontrolled the ball. Yeah, I mean, we talk about it with Iheanacho. You got to give him game time to get the confidence up, and that's what he'll need. But you need to see something from the player when they're given these 5-10 minutes. And I know it's not a lot, and I know it's not always fair, but that's life and football, I'm afraid. And he came on today and just nothing. And I know that sometimes, when you have one of them days, and I think the football club, the players, the manager today, the fans felt it. We had one of them days where everything we tried, it just backfired. We needed more aggression. We put more attackers on. It still didn't work. And I'm not saying that, I'm not worried in terms of his long-term future at Leicester. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hitting the panic button like some are talking about Daka. But today was like, at least with Iheanacho, you had a talking point to hold on to. You say, well, he played 15 minutes here and he got an assist. Why isn't he playing more? Daka today had that chance. He was the last roll of the dice. I would only give him a 2. He was very poor. I mean, like I said, if he didn't give away a foul and knock one out for a throw-in, I wouldn't have known he was on the pitch.
Yeah. Well, Brad, thank you so much. It wasn't to be a good day. At least we've got an excuse not to watch much of the day tonight, and I can put a film on.
I don't know. If you're struggling to go to sleep and you're a Leicester fan and you still struggle with insomnia, try and find our attacking videos, because it'll only be about 3 seconds long, but it'll be enough to put you to sleep.
We're certainly not going to be first on Match of the Day. Top 10 battles, tell people where they can find you. Oops, sorry, mate. That was the wrong one.
You can find me hiding in the background there as Chris put me there. Now, you can find me on YouTube. The channel's called Top 10 Battles, like Chris does, because he's an absolute legend. The link is in the description. So thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. We have just done an episode on a Friday, Battle of Exes. It's a new episode of that. So go and check that out. And follow me on Twitter at Fulltime Focus. And as always, do your usual, show your support to this channel first before you go anywhere. Don't go clicking on my link without hitting a like and subscribe on here first.
Do them both. Do them both.
Do them both. Do them both.
Brad, thank you so much, sir. Can you stay in because I want to have a quickie with you?
You dirty man! Buy me a drink first.
Yeah, at least take me out for a bit. You know?
Yeah, God, it's been a while. Come on.
Wine and dine me first. You know?
Yeah, I know.
But thanks very much, mate. I'll speak to you in a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Hey, Alan's man of the match.
Yeah, I agree with him. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that one. The brightest of bright sparks and a very dull room for Leicester. So yeah.
If everybody could have the same commitment and drive and passion that this man is showing, who knows what we could achieve. So yes, I agree. I would have gone for him as well.
Yeah, so. and now Alan gets his commission for getting a mention on the show.
I know. He's been texting me again. I've not heard my name yet. Thanks a lot, mate. Speak to you in a second.
Yeah, see you in a minute, mate.
Cheers. There we go. Thanks to Brad for that. When are we back? I hear you say. When are you back, Chris? Well,
coming up next on Leicester Till I Die TV.
Monday at 9, we have got a preview. Brad will be back with me then, as will a gentleman from Rovers Chat. We are going to be looking ahead to the FA Cup round 5, is it? I'm not sure, round 4 or 5. I'm lost, to be honest with you. They will beat Queen Park Rangers today 3-1. They will be very much up and thinking they can do us. Or will they? We'll find out Monday at 9. And a bit of interest. I mean, we're going to try and expand the channel a little bit. Maybe doing a bit of Formula 1 this season. So join us. You know, we do the shit shirt show with all the shirts and we put them in order for all the Premier League teams. We're going to be doing the same, but for the car liveries. So a little bit different there for Formula 1 fans. Doug will be joining me for that. If you like a bit of Formula 1, please join us. I'm not sure when it is, but of course it will be. If you click the notification button, you will not miss it. Just going to end and say we did play Arsenal today. They did win. And in a little way, that was for you, Stephen. All the best, mate. I will see you Monday at 9 o'clock. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.